Ever grabbed a quick bite between meetings? Ancient Romans did the same thing, at street corner restaurants called Thermopolia. These ancient fast food joints were everywhere in Rome, serving up hot meals faster than you can say drive-through. Think of a Thermopolium as the Roman version of your local food truck, except it's more like a built-in kitchen counter facing the street. These places were super popular with the working-class Romans who didn't have kitchens at home. Imagine walking up to a counter lined with these huge clay pots called dolia, sunk right into the marble countertop. Each pot held different ready-to-eat dishes, from spiced wine to hot stews and the Roman favorite, a fish sauce called garum. The coolest part? Archaeologists found a perfectly preserved Thermopolium in Pompeii, complete with food still in the pots. It's like finding a 2,000-year-old menu frozen in time. Here's a wild fact. Most ancient Romans didn't have a kitchen in their homes. Imagine living in a tiny apartment without even a microwave. That's exactly how it was for them. The average Roman lived in these tall apartment buildings called insulae, basically the ancient version of modern high-rises. But there was a catch. Cooking inside was super dangerous because these buildings were basically giant wooden fire hazards. Plus, most people couldn't afford cooking equipment anyway. So what did they do? They hit up their local Thermopolium. These street food spots became the heart of Roman social life, kind of like how we meet friends at coffee shops today. It's pretty amazing how some things never change, right? Let's peek into those clay pots and see what's on the menu. The Romans loved their fish stew, a hearty mix of whatever fish was fresh that day, tossed with herbs, wine, and that famous fermented fish sauce, garum. Think of it as their version of ketchup. They put it on everything. They also served mulled wine called calda, spiced up with honey and herbs. It was like their version of a pumpkin spice latte, super popular and available on every corner. For the budget-conscious customer, there was always a pot of simple lentil soup simmering away. And if you were feeling fancy, you could grab some sausages or meatballs. The food was cheap, filling, and perfect for grabbing on the go, just like your favorite food truck today. The design of these ancient fast food spots was absolutely genius. Think of a modern food counter, but make it Roman. The Thermopolium had this L-shaped marble counter with huge built-in pots, perfect for keeping food hot and fresh. The counters faced right onto the busiest streets, making it super easy to grab and go. Many even had frescoes advertising their specialties, the original menu boards. Some Thermopolia had tiny dining rooms in the back, but most customers just hung out at the counter, chatting and eating, exactly like we do at food trucks today. The really smart part, the whole setup was designed to handle the chaos of Roman rush hour, with multiple serving stations and those deep counterwells keeping everything organized and at the right temperature. The Thermopolium wasn't just a place to grab lunch. It was ancient Rome's version of a neighborhood hangout. These spots drew everyone from construction workers to merchants, and yes, even the occasional senator trying to dodge a fancy dinner party. Think of it like your local diner where the CEO might sit next to a taxi driver. The counterculture was real. People would stand around, slurping their soup, sharing the latest gossip about gladiator matches, and complaining about their bosses. Some things really never change. For many Romans, especially slaves and workers who lived in tiny apartments, the Thermopolium was their living room, their water cooler, and their social media all rolled into one tasty package. Okay, this is where things get really cool. In 2020, archaeologists hit the ancient food lovers jackpot in Pompeii. They found a complete Thermopolium, and when I say complete, I mean everything was still there. We're talking colorful frescoes of chickens and ducks, the original menu pictures, food residue still in the pots, and even human bones. The counter still had its bright paintings, showing off what was probably the shop's specialty dishes. Scientists even found traces of pork, fish, snails, and beef in the pots. It's literally a 2,000-year-old snapshot of someone's lunch order that never got picked up. This discovery tells us exactly how these ancient fast food joints worked, right down to the daily specials. The Romans were total kitchen tech wizards. Seriously. Their clay pots weren't just regular containers, they were ancient temperature control champions. These dolia had thick walls and narrow necks that trapped heat like a dream, keeping soups and stews piping hot for hours. And check this out, they used a clever double boiler system with hot water in the counter wells around the pots. Pretty genius, right? They even had special lids with built-in strainers to keep the sauce at the perfect thickness. For cold storage, they'd pack the counter wells with snow from the mountains. Yeah, the Romans basically invented the refrigerated display case. And here's a fun surprise, they used different pot shapes for different foods. Tall ones for wine, wide ones for stews, and shallow ones for quick-serve items. The Romans were marketing masters way before Instagram. Those beautiful frescoes on Thermopolium walls weren't just pretty pictures, they were ancient billboards. Painted roosters advertised chicken dishes, while steaming pots showed off hot specials. Shop owners would send workers into crowded streets shouting about daily deals, the original social media influencers. They even used clever wordplay and catchy slogans painted above their counters. My favorite, a Thermopolium in Pompeii, had a painting of Mercury, the god of commerce, next to the words, "Good fortune lives here." Talk about smart branding. And just like modern restaurants have their signature dishes, each Thermopolium had its special recipe that kept customers coming back for more. Let's talk about the not-so-appetizing side of Roman fast food. While Thermopolia were convenient, their health standards would make modern food inspectors faint. Those clay pots? They rarely got a thorough wash. The counter wells breeding bacteria in the summer heat. Nobody thought twice about it. And that popular fish sauce, garum, it was basically fermented fish guts left in the sun. But here's the wild part. Romans actually had some food safety laws. Vendors caught selling spoiled food could get fined or banned. Though let's be honest, in a city without refrigeration or food thermometers, dodgy street food was just part of daily life. Think of it as building up your immune system, the hard way. You might think fast food is a modern invention, but those ancient Roman Thermopolia set up the blueprint we still use today. From the counter service to the visual menus and even the way we socialize while eating, it all started in Rome. Next time you're grabbing pizza from a food truck or chatting with friends at a diner counter, you're basically living like a Roman. The biggest difference? Our health codes are way better, thank goodness, and we've swapped garum for ketchup. But that quick, casual, social eating experience, that's pure Roman genius still going strong 2,000 years later. Even our drive-thrus are just Thermopolia with parking lots. Thanks for joining me on this tasty trip through ancient Rome's fast food scene. If you enjoyed this historical feast, smash that like button and subscribe for more ancient discoveries. Share with your food-loving friends. They'll eat it up.